is the SAG-AFTRA chief negotiator. He joins us live now from Los Angeles. Duncan, thank you so much for being with us. Just walk us through just what your fears are in terms of how AI will revolutionize the movie industry, especially when it comes to the use of actors' likeness.
Well, there's no doubt that AI can have some positive benefits, and it also poses some real risks. I think from the point of view of performers, those risks include having people use AI technology to generate voice or image or likeness models of a person, and then be able to have them do whatever kind of performance in the future that's desired without necessarily having the approval of the performer whose image is being used. We've seen this kind of abuse going on right now on the internet with deepfakes, especially deepfake pornography. And our members really want to make sure they're protected from that. And we feel like the best way to do that is by ensuring that there is a principle of informed consent for any kind of use of AI to deal with a person's image, likeness, persona, et cetera, and also that there be fair compensation for any time someone's likeness like that is used. I mean, an actor's stock and trade is their persona, it's their image, it's their voice. And so if you want to take that and use it to help generate a commercial project, then they should be paid fairly for that.
So just explain what that would mean in practical terms. Essentially, if you want to use an actor's digital double or likeness, you would sign a separate contract with them in terms of what they would be compensated, how and when you could use their voice, their image, what purposes you could use it for. Just explain to us the details of how this would work.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When you're creating a digital double, it could be for several different kinds of purposes. One purpose could be to supplement a performance that's going to be done by that performer. So let's say that performer is going to actually act out a role, but there might be a need to do some reshoots or some other ancillary things, and the producer wants to have a digital double available for that. That's one type of use that might be made, and that would be negotiated as part of the performer's contract for that project. Another type of use might be to use that digital double to be the entirety of the performance for some project. That's already been done, as you mentioned. You mentioned the Peter Cushing example. There have been other examples of that, Carrie Fisher, for example, and Paul Walker is another example. And in those cases, then the informed consent really comes from negotiation over what the scope of that use will be. A special contract is written for that, and fair compensation is negotiated. And all of that happens under the auspices of SAG-AFTRA's collective bargaining agreement, which all of those performers and every other performer who works for the major studios or independent producers on SAG-AFTRA covered film, television, and streaming projects, all of it is subject to those terms. And so it's really important that we establish that principle. The industry's been following it, but we want to really get it locked in and make sure that there's a clear understanding that those are the rules of the road as we move forward with more AI technology.
I mean, don't you think that the studios will have to play ball? I mean, you know, it's one thing to have a writer's strike, but the industry can still move forward without writers, especially because, you know, there are so many spec movie scripts that have already been paid for, that the studios already own. They can still, I mean, obviously it's a bit more complicated with TV shows, but certainly with film projects that have already been paid for in terms of buying scripts, the studios can always move forward in terms of moving forward into production. However, when it comes to actors, that's a different game altogether. What's your expectation in terms of what's going to happen between now and June 30th?
Well, my expectation is that we're all going to work hard to negotiate a fair deal, and that hopefully by the end of the month that we will have a fair deal in place that that our members will be happy with, that is fair to them and covers the issues that they need dealt with, and that the industry can live with. I would say, though, in my view, the writer's strike has already had a very big impact on the industry, because even though there's some examples like you mentioned where sometimes projects go forward in the absence of a writer, that's really not ideal. And it has had a huge impact on production, both in the TV and streaming side as well as the feature side. But I think the reality is, if we can't get a fair deal by the end of the month, then we'll be looking at the strike authorization that we just received from our members yesterday by an overwhelming majority, almost 98% of our members voting yes on the request to give the authority to our board to call a strike if it's needed. That's not to say we're going to go on strike. That's to say we're going into this negotiation to make a deal. But if we can't get a fair deal, then we'll do what's necessary to get one.
Which, by the way, would of course cripple the entertainment industry if your members end up going on strike at the end of the month. Let's hope and pray it doesn't get to that. Duncan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. All right, and that is